What's more, ambush marketing is a growing trend in South Africa, and to unpack this for us is William Sayema, a marketing expert. A very good afternoon to you, Mr. Sayema. Welcome to ANN7. Firstly, let's just look at the aspect of social media and what social media has done specifically with regards to ambush marketing.
The greatest thing that social media has done is help the smallest of brands to be able to put themselves out there and in the process create noise with, as you have rightly indicated, deflection to themselves and diverting attention away from whatever event is happening, as we've seen with DJ Sbu during the Metro FM Music Awards.
Now let's unpack that a bit. Let's just unpack this whole debacle around his energy drink and how he's been ambush marketing it not only at the Metro FM Awards, he also had an interview with another news publication just recently. Absolutely.
Now the interesting thing about it is, as we've recently read, he hadn't got into an arrangement with the SABC about the fact that he'll be promoting his own brand. And it turns out that he's been doing this a lot on his show, Saturday show, which apparently he was subsequently suspended from. You know, the news broke out that he got suspended after the Metro FM Music Awards. And now we hear that, you know, he has ambushed Forbes magazine for purposes of promoting his brand. And now Forbes are saying, no, we haven't spoken to DJ Sbu. And it turns out that, you know, the cover that he put on his social media accounts was actually a photoshopped cover.
Now let's just discuss this. What makes this, you know, ambush marketing rather than a normal, I'm just a celebrity, I'm just trying to promote what I'm doing as another celebrity would? I'm in a movie, I have a new album release. How does this make this different?
It's the way he went about it. As you know, I've just indicated, because he went on Metro FM, really pushing his brand. He went on to their event, pushing his brand. Now he's used another much bigger platform in the Forbes magazine, even though he did it in the Africa edition of Forbes, you know, to basically put himself out there, saying, you know, by implication, people are going to be thinking that he was actually being interviewed or featured by Forbes magazine on their cover with his brand, as it were.
Now, of course, you're a marketing expert. Take us through the process of wanting to promote something like this. What is the process of wanting to promote, you know, an energy drink or an album? Is this illegal? Does it make what he has done illegal?
I don't necessarily think, in fact, it is not illegal. Okay. Let us start there. So he didn't necessarily break any law. Okay. But what he did is he broke the code because, you know, in promoting his brand for free on Metro's platforms, that is actually not the right way. Let me go back to the issue of legality. It is probably illegal for him to have used the Forbes magazine's cover to put himself out there without explaining to the people that it's a photoshopped cover. It is not a true one. So one could argue that they can actually take him to court for purposes of having misrepresented their brand by claiming that, you know, he has an association of sorts with them through the fact that he was on their cover. Now, it brings through other elements which I think are of interest. The fact that media, as a whole, are going into the convergence space where this started on Metro FM radio, it went into social media, it bounced back into the traditional media space, and hence we're talking about it now, where, you know, there's a convergence of media across the board. And interestingly, it calls into question whether what we see with so-called armchair journalism is something that's starting to take effect, because all the journalists have to do is to watch the trends that are taking effect on social media and then go write about them on traditional media. And with it, the prospect that they could get it wrong, because if somebody doesn't check their facts, they will go say things about him on traditional media to the effect that he's on the Forbes magazine cover, when in fact it's not the case.
Now, from a strategic point of view, let's analyze his marketing strategy.
Look, he's done well. We know that the DJ Sbu, back to the Mzagazage days, he's really done well to be able to leverage what we now call social PR to get his name out there. Has he gone too far this time around? Only time will tell.
Now let's have a look at other instances, if you have brought or rather seen any in social media that have been, similar to this, but have not been as highlighted as this energy drink has been.
I suppose in the case of DJ Sbu, because he's got this huge profile and he's been able to really use media to good effect, we know that very recently he was also on top billing, and that was spoken about quite a bit. He makes for a very classic example of what you can do as a small brand in the greater scheme of things to really put yourself out there. A lot of other guys have tried. It hasn't worked as well. Maybe it's because they don't have the profile that DJ Sbu does have. But, the whole issue of people putting themselves out there and making themselves look good, the photoshopping kind of aspect, the digital technology that's allowing all of this, we see more and more of that. We know that there have been photoshopped photos of Kim Kardashian, although she wasn't impacting on any other brand in doing what she was doing. She was just making sure that she looks good on the photos that she puts on the likes of Instagram and Twitter.
And now, having a look from a brand perspective, of course, he wanted to promote, what he's doing, to promote his brand. Do you think, the way that things have worked out, specifically with regards rather to the allegations of the Forbes fabrication, do you think that in some way this has tarnished his brand, or do you think it's just simply just going to push him up again?
Well, we keep being told that no PR is bad PR. so for DJ Sbu, it has really worked well for him. And this is not the first such case where DJ Sbu is involved in a controversy of sorts. We know that just before the elections, he got into a bust-up with Julius Malema, and it was a big issue on social media. The other thing that I have seen, though, with social media is social netizens, as we call them, are much more forgiving of human brands than they are of corporate brands. Depending on what he does with it going forward, I'm certain that it will be water under the bridge, because the other thing that we've seen with social media is that the lifespan is so short. There is so much that is happening. People will quickly forget about it. He will do something that's more spectacular. Maybe he will release another book, and life will go on.
Well, of course, you've certainly unpacked that for us, and it is something to think about. Of course, joining me in studio, talking a bit more about Abush Marketing, it is a growing trend rather in South Africa. With us in studio was Willy, a marketing expert. Thank you very much for joining us in studio.